verbs are auxiliary verbs that we use to talk about ability, permission, advice, obligation, and possibility, okay? Now remember, an auxiliary verb is sort of an extra verb or a helper verb that we attach to a main verb to add maybe a tense or a mood or a voice to our verb. Now, oftentimes, our modal verbs can be accompanied by the preposition to, and we call that a modal phrase, okay? So, let's talk about some of our modal verbs and their usage, okay? So, our modal verbs are can, could, may, should, must, have to, and might. Obviously, there are more, but these are the ones that we are focusing on, okay? Don't worry, I will go back over that list when I talk about what they're used for. Okay, so the first reason we use modals is to talk about our abilities, okay? And those modal verbs are can and could. An example of that is if I were to say, I can swim, okay? I am the subject and the main verb is swim. I'm using the auxiliary modal can to add the voice of it being an ability, okay? That means I'm able to swim, okay? Or you could ride a bike to school, okay? That means that you have the ability to ride a bike to school, okay? Ride is our main verb, you are the subject, and could is our modal auxiliary that's helping express that we're talking about the ability to do that verb, okay? Secondly, we use it to talk about permission, and this is oftentimes in questions, right? So we have can and could again for permission, right? But we also have may. Okay, and may is a bit more formal. Maybe you would say it to your boss or to your teacher, but probably not to your friend. Okay, so an example of that is if you were at your friend's house, you could say, hey, could you get me a glass of water? Okay, get is our main verb, but we use could to sort of ask for permission, right? Okay, but in a more formal setting, maybe with your boss or with your teacher, you say, may I go to the bathroom? Okay, I am the subject, go is the main verb, and I'm using may to express that I'm talking about giving me permission to do something, okay? And then obviously you can use it in a statement as well. Your teacher can say, you may go to the bathroom. That means you are the subject, go is the main verb, and may is expressing that you have the permission to go to the bathroom. Okay? All right. The next one is advice. And this one is very, very, very common. Okay? And the only modal that we really use for giving advice is should, right? So I'm sure you guys have heard this. People say it all the time, but you should do or you should something, right? So you could say you should do your homework, right? That means I'm giving you the advice that you should do your homework, okay? I'm suggesting that it's something good you should do, okay? Or you should brush your teeth, yeah? You can also use a lot of these modal verbs in reverse, right? You can make them negative, right? You shouldn't smoke is advice of something you should not do, okay? All right, the next form is obligation. Okay, obligation means it's something that we have to do. Maybe it's part of our job, maybe it's something naturally that humans can't avoid doing, or maybe it's you have a medical condition, I don't know. But it's something that you have no choice, really, okay? And those modals are must and have to, okay? We have to there, which is a modal phrase. Remember I said when it's accompanied by the preposition to, it's a modal phrase. So, we use this, for example, to say something that we have already planned that we don't have a choice, right? So I must go to work, okay? Go to work is our main verb, right? And I'm using must to express that it's an obligation I have. I don't have a choice, okay? Or you have to do your homework, okay? That's different than you should do your homework. You should do your homework is using the advice modal, right? So I'm saying it would be a good idea if you did your homework, but you don't have to. But obligation, if I say you have to do your homework, that means you don't have a choice. It's something you're obligated to do. It's mandatory, okay? And finally, this one is also very, very common, probably just as common, if not more common than advice, is to express possibility, okay? Now, possibility is a bit complicated, but the modals that we use are might, may, could, can, and also shall. But shall is a bit maybe British. It's not something that Americans use very often. If you used it in America, it would sort of seem like you were very old or something. But, okay, so for possibility, it's a little complicated because unlike permission or ability, it's not something that's either a yes or a no, right? If you have the ability to do something, then you have the ability to do it, okay? And if you don't, you don't. There's only two options. But for possibility, there's sort of like a scale, right? There's something that's going to happen, and we would call that inevitable, which means it has a 100% possibility. I mean, like if I were to say the sun will rise tomorrow, okay? That's not something that might happen. It's not something that's almost certain. It will happen tomorrow, okay? It's something that is inevitable, okay? And for inevitable things, we use will and shall, all right? Then, of course, we have things that are very probable, so it probably will happen, but there is a small chance that it won't happen, right? And for that, we would use can, right? Like the teacher can give you homework. That means it's very probable the teacher will give you homework, but occasionally, sometimes, they don't give you homework, which is great. I'm sure you enjoy. But yeah, so we use can to talk about things that are very probable, but maybe not 100% certain, okay? Then kind of in the middle, we talk about things that are likely to happen, okay? And that is could and may. You could say, it could rain today. That means it's likely to happen, but also maybe not so certain. So it's like maybe a little bit more than 50-50, okay? Leaning a little bit more towards the it will happen side, yeah? It could rain today, which means sort of, yeah, there's like a 55% chance it will rain. So, 5.5 times out of 10 it will rain, but maybe almost half it won't rain. So we're not so sure, okay? It's kind of right in the middle. And also may. I may go to the party. That means I haven't really decided. Probably I'll go, but there's a good chance that I won't go, okay? Then we have, on the lower side, we have something that's unlikely to happen. We have something like that we're expressing that there's a possibility it will happen, but really it's not so likely. And for this, we use might. I might go to the party. That means I'm thinking that I will stay home, but there's a small chance that if you convince me, I'll go. Does that make sense? So might is a little bit less certain than could and may, okay? And then finally, just like we have things that are inevitable, like the sun will come out tomorrow, we have things that are impossible. This means that there is a 0% possibility, okay? This means that it will never happen. It's not going to happen. And for this, we use the modal can't. I can't fly. When I wake up tomorrow, there is 0% chance that I will be able to fly. It's impossible, okay? I can't fly. Or I can't change the past, yeah? The past has already happened. So there is a 0% possibility of me changing it. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope this all made sense for you. If you guys have any questions, you can post in the Google Classroom or talk to Ava about the best way to get in touch with me. But I hope you're all well, and I look forward to hearing from all of you as soon as possible. Okay, take care.